Lines podcast with me, Ben Askins.
And me, Lauren Wright. Follow us on Insta at We're Reading Between the Lines and find out our TikTok and our Twitter handles over there. Should we dive straight into our current reads?
Yes, let's do it. Tell me about yours.
Mine is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I haven't started it yet, but let me just read the synopsis to you real quick.
I can't wait.
One summer, two rivals, a plot twist they didn't see coming. Nora is a cutthroat literary agent at the top of her game. Her whole life is books. Charlie is an editor with a gift for creating bestsellers, and he's Nora's work nemesis. Nora has been through enough breakups to know she's the woman men date before they find their happily ever after. That's why Nora's sister has persuaded her to swap her desk in the city for a month's holiday in Sunshine Falls, North Carolina. Is it sounding good?
It sounds very good.
I'm intrigued. It's intriguing me. It's a small town straight out of a romance novel, but instead of meeting sexy lumberjacks, handsome doctors, or cute bartenders, Nora keeps bumping into who? Charlie. She's no heroine, he's no hero, so can they take a page out of an entirely different book? Set over one sizzling August, Book Lovers is the new chemistry-filled rivals to lovers rom-com from New York Times #1 bestseller Emily Henry.
We do love an enemies to lovers.
I feel like there's nothing better.
However, I don't want to bring down your excitement, but I did read You and Me on Vacation by
Ooh.
Emily Henry.
And was it good?
And I didn't love it. Like, I would say it was like a 5 or 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It was definitely like an easy read, but I
Yeah.
think I just was not emotionally attached to either of the main characters.
I feel like you need that to really
Yeah.
get into a book.
And I think like, yeah, it took, yeah, and I really, I didn't love it.
That's annoying. Well, my friend, she'd recommended it to me. She gave me the book. She was like, you need to read this. So that's going to be my current read of the month. I'll let you know how I feel on it. Because I feel like that happens though, like with an author, you could read one book from the author and go, oh my God, I love that. Like I'm just going to read everything they write. But sometimes it doesn't always work out that way.
Sometimes it's better to keep it at one.
Yeah. But yeah, what about you, Ben? What's your current read?
Mine is a bit different, and more different than what I usually read. It's called Reach for the Stars by Michael Cragg, and it's about fame, fallout, and pop stars in the between 1996 and 2006. So it starts with like the Spice Girls and follows like Steps, S Club 7, Blue, Girls Aloud, Mystique. Like, I just think it sounds really interesting. And like, I love pop culture and anything like that, so I'm really excited to get into it.
I was going to say, I know you, Ben, and I from the sounds of that is right up your alley.
I think it's one that I'll read very quickly. I feel like it's a page turner.
Nothing better than a page turner. When you get into a book and it's almost like you're in that book with the characters. You're in that scene. I love it.
And I think it'll be so easy to read because I've already got a built-in interest and like knowledge of the people, so like I can already.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That sounds so good. So, the theme of the podcast this month is diaries.
Interesting.
Have you got a diary?
You know, I don't. And I think that that's because I'm not consistent enough to keep a diary. And I can't keep myself motivated to do it on a daily or even weekly basis. However, I love the idea of it, just for the purpose of looking back in 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, I think as a diary writer myself, as a diary keeper myself, start one. Because I think there's something about having like a certain memory in your brain that you want to keep onto it. You want to hold on to it. So what better than to write it down in a diary?
Yeah.
You know?
I appreciate the idea. How often do you write in your diary?
We already know the answer to this, Ben, but it's hard. I will say it's hard to keep up. Because sometimes when life is just passing by so rapidly, you haven't got time to write in your diary.
Yeah.
I haven't updated it in a year. But
I
nothing
feel like
really exhilarating's happened to me in a year, like, in a way.
I think when you've gone that long, like you kind of just have to jump back in where you're at now.
Yeah, I think I'll have to do that. I think
Yeah.
I'll do a flash forward 1 year. Hi guys, dear diary, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But no, I started it at the start of first year, or beginning of first year.
Have you read
Before first year, actually, because I wanted to document my time at uni. But I've only done first year. I haven't even done second year.
To be fair, that was your most exciting times.
Yeah, for sure.
You're settled down now. First year was your most exciting times anyway. You're settled down now. So
I think first year is the most exciting time for anyone. So I
Yeah.
think if you're going to go into uni soon, I think start a diary. For everyone listening, start a diary, because you're going to wish that you did later on, I think.
Yeah.
Ben's already missed the boat for it.
I have. Although my feral times have not ended, so
True.
I could still start.
I think the sooner you start, the better. But yeah, it's not easy. And also, I feel like who's writing with pen and paper these days?
So true.
It's
I don't
tough.
remember the last time I wrote with a pen.
I know. So your hand's cramping up before you've even got to the main bit of your story.
Literally.
I always find. So, yeah.
On the topic of diaries, have you read many books that are written in diary form?
Well, you know what? I would actually say, the thing is, like quite a few books I've read have been in diary format. Just can't remember them all. But I feel like, were you a Diary of the Wimpy Kid fan?
I was.
Loved them. I read, what was it, Dog Days?
Dog Days.
I read that in about 2 hours. Back in the day. Loved it.
And another book that's been adapted
I
into
know.
it.
So many books have been adapted into some sort of show, play, film. I love a book to adaptation.
Me too.
But yeah, Diary of a Wimpy Kids was so good.
Yeah. Definitely a core childhood book.
I feel like if you haven't read a Diary of a Wimpy Kid, like what are you doing?
Yeah. What about later on in life?
Later on, like, I think I was around 15, 16, I read My Mad Fat Diary.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I tried to get my friends into it, but they just weren't really feeling it, but it's alright.
Is that aimed?
That is aimed. Ellen, if you're listening, that's aimed. Pick it up. I gave it to her. I gave her the book and she's still on her bookshelf. So rude. But I really enjoyed it. It's about the life of a teen girl living, I think it's set in the 90s. It's a true diary. Obviously it's not. Well, I mean, yeah. It's based on her life, but it's by Ray Earl. My Mad Fat Diary by Ray Earl, and it's based on her life and just what it's like to be a teenage girl in the 90s, going to college. Wasn't born in the 90s, didn't go to college in the 90s, but it's still relatable, and she talks about boys, having crushes on them, but she's an outcast, she's not popular by any means. She struggles with family, with her mum, with her dad, with friends, with college. I think we can all agree on that.
I feel like all those like feelings are like relatable to anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially at that age.
I feel like there's no time where like emotions are at an all-time high than around college. So I really enjoyed that because I was reading that like before I was going into college and when I was in college, and yeah, it just resonated with me. So yeah. And then I think she came out with like a second book called My Madder Fatter Diary. I read that too, but I can't remember it as distinctively, but yeah. And they've been turned into a TV show, another book to adaptation. I mean, what book hasn't been made into something at this point? But that was on Channel 4, and it was quite a big show. Did you ever watch it?
You know, I didn't, and you have recommended it to me quite a few times, 'cause I know I'd love it as well.
How many more times can I recommend it to you?
I know.
But it was so good. I loved every second of it. I think I watched it 3 times. And the friend I recommended the book to, she loves that show. So, I mean, come on.
I don't know how she hasn't picked up the book then.
Neither. It's baffling, but yeah. What about you? Have you read any diary form books?
Well, if I'm honest, my experience with diary form books is not very positive because I would say the biggest one is, well, it was like a mix. So like it was mostly diary form and there was some like newspaper articles and things like that in it. Was Dracula. And
Interesting.
I really just think it's the worst book I've ever read. I read it at A level. And like I even went into it with a positive attitude, but I just thought for a book that is supposed to be like thrilling and scary, I've never been more mind-numbingly bored in my life.
That is quite the claim.
And I must have started it thinking like this will be the time that I will just like get through it and I'll read it all. About 5 times, and in the end, like I just ended up just reading the chunks that I thought were important because it was just so bad. And like when you look at all the adaptations of it, they all change the storylines like somewhat, or like have different spins on it. And I think that's because the original is just not good.
Yeah, I mean, why would they change it if it was good?
Exactly.
I mean,
although Bram Stoker did base it partly set in Whitby, which is near where I'm from. So I do appreciate that aspect. But other than that, I mean, don't pick it up.
Whitby Scampi,
Yeah.
my one true love. But for the listeners that maybe aren't too in the know with Dracula or don't really know what it's about, could you give us a bit of a synopsis on it?
Yeah, it's basically about, there's like a group of fairly wealthy people in England. There's a group of like fairly wealthy people in England that are all like linked in some way or another. And one of them goes to visit for work purposes, like he goes away and he ends up staying with this Dracula, but he doesn't realise that's who it is, and like obviously it's all a bit like, oh, this is a bit weird. But not weird enough to keep you hooked, I'll tell you that for nothing. And then, yeah, like he kind of infiltrates all their lives, and like some people survive, some people don't. None of them you care about, so.
Right, well, I mean, that's a strong opinion on a classic.
It is, and I stand by it. And the thing is, like, I love a classic. It's probably the only classic I've read that I haven't enjoyed.
Does anyone else that you know that's read Dracula feel the same way?
Everyone I know feels the same. Well, some people feel a little bit less strongly about it than I do, but I think for the most part, no one enjoyed it.
Not rave reviews.
No.
In your class.
No.
Oh, interesting.
And my teacher was good as well, so.
Even she couldn't make it.
Shout out to Kerry. Yeah.
She couldn't make it enjoyable.
Yeah.
Well, that's a shame. Shall we dive in with some diary facts?
Yes.
I'm gonna quiz you, Ben.
Okay. Throw them at me. I'm ready.
When was a diary first made? What century?
It's a toughie.
It is. I'm throwing you straight in the deep end.
I'm guessing it was quite a long time ago. I'm going to go 11th century.
A little bit lower than that.
A little bit lower.
Yeah.
9th?
Almost.
8th?
No.
10th?
Yes.
Okay.
10th century was when a diary was first born, you could say. The first diaries of a consistently introspective nature were written by ladies of the Royal Japanese Court in the 10th century.
Wow.
I know. Who would have suspected that?
Not me.
The records took the form of pillow books, so called because they were tucked in or under the pillow. I always write my diary in bed.
I think if I was to write a diary, it would be written in bed, because if it was up to me, I would never leave my bed. So.
Same. So the ladies of the Japanese court sort of started out with little notes under the pillow. But who invented the diary book?
As in published diary book?
Yes.
Is it Samuel Pepys?
It is, well done.
Yes.
You know your stuff. Samuel
do.
Pepys is the earliest diarist who is well known today, and his diaries are preserved in Magdalene College, I want to say, in Cambridge, and they were first published in 1825.
Wow.
He was one of the first to take the diary into the sort of personal world and not just business transaction notations.
Interesting.
Which is really cool. And I feel like we should go into our last fact. What is the best-selling diary of all time? Published diary of all time?
I think it has to be Anne Frank.
It is. The Diary of Anne Frank has sold over 30 million copies, which is crazy. Have you ever read it?
I haven't. And I think it would be a really important book to read at some point in your life.
Definitely.
Yeah, you.
You know what? I think there was the book lying around in my house when I was like 11 or 12, and I picked it up, but I never got much further than the first few chapters, which might have been for the best when you were 11.
Yeah, I think it's probably for the best. It's a bit heavy for an 11-year-old.
A little bit, but I feel like I could definitely get into it past a few chapters.
In 30 years' time, if you were to publish your diary,
Mm.
who would you be most nervous to read it?
Probably all the people I've written about. Because I use the first name basis. Maybe I even go into full name basis with some of them.
Yeah.
There's some friends that I might have slagged off. Apologies. So yeah, probably, but it wouldn't stop me. If someone came to me with a publishing deal, would it stop me? No. I would say yes.
Yeah.
And throw everyone under the bus.
I think they'd understand, to be honest.
I think they would. I think honestly, would you not be flattered if you were written in someone's diary? I always think about this.
Living rent-free.
Exactly. So I think honestly people should be honoured.
Yeah.
To be even in my diary. For me to even have written down their name. But yeah. What about you? If you had your diary, would you be nervous for anyone to read it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would be nervous for everyone to read it, I feel like.
It's going out into the world, yeah.
But also anything for a bit of money, so I feel like...
We'll need it.
If
we'll
publishing,
be needing it.
We will. Living in London, are you kidding?
That's
These
so
economic
true.
times.
I know, not easy.
But I'm sure they would understand.
I think so. And for your name to be in a published book, I mean, come on.
Even in
as long as the situation, the scenario that you wrote about wasn't too awkward for them, wasn't too embarrassing for that other person, then what's the problem?
Well, if they've done something wrong, they shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, true. But we all make mistakes.
We do.
We do.
Me more than most.
Not really.
Do you think? I think so.
No. I honestly think, we're second years at university. It's all about navigating life.
Yeah.
And on that note, that's all from us. I hope we've either inspired you to start a diary or pick one up. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Follow us on Rereading Between the Lines on Instagram, where you'll find our TikTok and our Twitter handles in the bio over there.
And we'll be back with more episodes next week.
Thank you. Bye.